It's important that we stand up now as the real Mesoamericans. It's very critical. Why is that? Because we are coming into a next stage of enlightenment, extended knowledge of who we are. And I said this before. I said we cannot go any further unless we know where we came from. We standing on land that we were previously taught was, land that we were brought to in chains and bondage as slaves, and that we standing on the land that's not our own. We sat up here and allowed people to tell us that we came from Africa, that we was swinging in trees in Africa, and we was playing with jungle monkeys and all this other nonsense and riding on lions and zebras or whatever nonsense and foolishness they say about our heritage. And all this time, our true heritage, our real heritage was staring us right in the face. We standing on our land. It's very serious and imperative. That's how you know this is real. See, because had I been claiming any type of Africanism, any, Egyptian stuff, you that had all these Negroes, nobody would have raised the eyebrow. The minute I started talking about and talking up the Mesoamerican heritage as us being the real Mesoamericans and that we are the descendants of those people that built the pyramids in Mexico and all over the place, and in Central America and the Yucatan and all that, and the first people to touch this continent, North America, South America, and Central America, all of these, but Mexico. The minute I started talking that up, now all of a sudden we're getting a lot of trolls coming out of the woodwork. We got a whole new group of trolls. So that tells me you're onto something. You got people sitting up here who actually looking at our faces on these walls. And my people, we've been finding our faces in the ancient world. All we typing up is Mesoamerican faces, and we finding our faces on those walls. And you had a lot of these Negroes who calling themselves, these so-called blacks, calling themselves African American, who were bought into the lie. So much so that they would rather deny our true heritage as the real Mesoamericans. They want to deny it. I done had trolls come up here, these Mexican trolls come up here, these so-called Indian trolls come up here and tell us, oh, y'all come from Africa. You trying to take my heritage. And they standing here saying this on videos with my goddamn face next to a Mesoamerican chief that looks exactly like me. I'm taking your heritage. We done been finding our faces all throughout Mesoamerica, and you got the nerve to tell us we taking somebody's heritage. This is our heritage. This is our heritage, and this is our land. Everybody here is a goddamn immigrant. Everybody's an immigrant here in America. The white man's an immigrant. The Asian is an immigrant. The Africans are immigrants. You see? The East Indians are immigrants. Everybody's an immigrant here but us. North America, South America, Central America, the North American continent is a continent for bronze people. That is a bronze continent. This is our continent. This is our continent. This is our home. Africa is not our home. You still got these clowns wanting to buy into the outer Africa theory from the so-called white man. But like I said, if at this point you still listening to the so-called white man, you see, if at this point you still listening to the so-called white man and we got proof beyond shadow of doubt who the real Mesoamericans are, then I don't know what to tell you. You that cooned out. You see, if at this point you still listening to these people tell us who the Mesoamericans are, people who didn't even care too much about the Mesoamerican heritage, the same people who sit up here perpetrating a fraud, these people will look at our images, look at our statues with these full lips and these broad noses and woolly hair and still say it's not us. The truth ain't in these people, man. The truth ain't in these people. The truth ain't in these niggas. The truth ain't in these goddamn Mexican wetbacks. I'm going to say it just like this. These spicks who sitting up here claiming our heritage. The truth ain't in the damn white man, the caveman. Don't look to them to give us the truth about our heritage. I'm fired up now. Don't look for them to give us the truth. Stop looking to them to give us the truth. We already seen the truth. We already seen the truth. And I'm only taking shots at the people who want to stand in the way of the reality of who we are, the truth of who we are. See, because we come from a hell of a heritage. We come from a hell of a heritage. The Olmecs, the Aztec, the Inca, the Mayan, the Toltecs. I can go on. Tell me what tribe you niggas come from in Africa since you stand up for Africa so much. You tell me what tribe you niggas come from in Africa. All you can tell me is we African. Tell me, Umar Johnson, all you Pan-Africans, tell me what tribes we come from. Name some tribes. They can't. Just this black blanket of we African, Pan-African. We naming actual tribes. We actually seeing our faces, and you expect us to ignore that? You know what that's like? Like saying, oh, you know what, we found a gold mine, but forget the gold mine we just found. We're going to go over here to where this land is, where the fool's gold is, and we're going to pull the fool's gold out the goddamn ground, and we're going to keep taking the fool's gold when we don't actually found real gold, our real heritage. Our real heritage. You see, this gives us roots. This gives us real roots, not some fake African roots, not fake-ass African Alex Haley roots. Real roots, Mesoamerican roots, not plagiarized Pan-African garbage. No, we don't need no Pan-African garbage. We don't need no African nothing. Like I said, for you pro-black Africans over there, you need to go over there and help your African ancestors from fight the Asians and the Caucasians from taking all their African countries away, treating them like hoes in their own country. Oh, that's right. You too busy being hoes over here. So, no, we're not being hoes no more. We're not going to be hoes where everybody, like I said, because, you know, when I say we the whole, black people are the whole culture. Why I say black people, African Americans, are the whole culture, because you allow everybody to pimp down on you, from the white man to the Asian man to the Mexicans or whoever, pimp down on you and tell you, oh, you ain't got no heritage. Forget your faces on those walls. Forget your images on those walls and in those drawings and those carvings that our people left behind. That ain't your heritage. That's our heritage. Forget that, right? Wrong. We ain't forgetting about it. In fact, we're going to raise more hell about it. And we're going to find our Mesoamerican brothers and sisters out here, because we need that to go forward. That is the gas in our vehicle as the almond race to go forward, because it is imperative. It is imperative that we know exactly who we are and where we come from. We got heritage and history here, thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And like I said, I'm the only one that stood up for the Mesoamerican name. I'm the only one saying that our people globally, wherever our people globally in America, North America, South America, Central America, and Africa, Mesoamerican, we need to stand up as proud. In the UK, everything. Mesoamericans are everywhere. This is an international culture. This is an international culture that is not just bound by landmass. The Mesoamericans are just as a real culture as so-called Italian culture, so-called Irish culture, so-called English culture. Mesoamerican culture is bronze culture, falsely being called African black culture. We are not African. And we need to stop allowing the white man to lie to us. And like I said, you got a lot of dummies, a lot of big dummies buying into the lie. Got a lot of dummies buying into the lie, and a lot of racist dummies at that. You see, you got a lot of racist dummies who want to believe that because they really got a bone to pick with the so-called black man. I told you there's a lot of jealousy over the Mesoamerican man. You see, falsely being called African American. There's a lot of jealousy over the Mesoamerican man, even from amongst the so-called Africans, because everybody want to copy the Mesoamerican man. They want to copy his swag, as they say, his style, his charisma, because we've been putting it down like that for thousands and thousands of years, men and women. They want to copy the Mesoamerican woman all over. That's why these African women come over here. I'm talking about the tribal ones. They come over here, the ones who got the African, the ones who really link to Africa. They want to come over here, and what do? They want to mimic you. You know why? Because nobody cares. Don't nobody care about their cultures. The white man, all these people want to mimic our people. Nobody care about their culture. Ain't nothing cool until the Mesoamericans made it cool. You see? And like I said, we got so many things that come from us. We got a rich heritage that people want us to leave on the table, that you got damn white people trying to take our Egyptian heritage, our ancient Kemetic heritage. You got Caucasians still telling that lie. Just recently they put out some image about how the ancient Egyptians looked in the ancient world. They got two white boys and a mulatto talking about how the faces of ancient Egyptians. They still trying to tell the same lie. So I told you before, to look for these people and their history to tell the truth, stop looking to them to tell the truth. They're not going to tell the truth. They can't tell the truth. Too much is invested in the lie. And now you got the so-called Mexicans who are nothing but a bunch of East Indians and Asians mixed. And I said it, for any of these Mexican trolls that want to come on here and talk about that's our heritage, stop listening to this network. This is Mesoamerica is not your heritage. It is not your heritage. Because we can trace where your heritage comes from, right back to the Asian. One of your own Mexican women over there, straight up Mexican with the straight hair, she traced her heritage back to the Asians. How did the Asians get connected with the so-called Mexicans? Answer, because they all the same people. The Asiatic people. I told you before, there's only 4 races on the planet, according to the white man. And we're just going to go with him for a second. There's only 4 races. Mongoloid, Negroid, so-called black, Negroid, Caucasoid, so-called white, and Mongoloid, so Asian. So if you got to fit in one of those 3. You got to fit in one of those 3. All the other subgroups like Mexicans and all of this, those are nothing but mixed races of different people from the Asiatic people, from the East Indians and the Asians. That's all they are. That's why you look at a lot of these so-called Mexicans, they got slanted eyes like Asians. They got the same straight hair like the goddamn Asians. The Chinese, and the rest of these people, they got the same type of hair, right? The same slanted eyes. They don't want to own their Asian heritage. They rather take on Mesoamerican one because ain't nothing popping with their Asian heritage. Nothing popping with their, so they would rather take on Mesoamerican heritage. They'll sit up here and lie right in your face. All those pictures of bronze people falsely being called black are bronze, copper-colored people on those walls. We staring at them. We finding our faces, matching our faces every day. And we about to make a video about that. So I tell all my people in the Mesoamerican community and the Republic of Mentellect, I tell all my people who are part of this growing movement to find your images in the ancient world of Mesoamerica, because we're going to include them in the video. Because this is going to be our answer to the goddamn trolls who come up here talking about we not Mesoamerican, this guy trying to take all y'all money and he down with Dr. York. Some clown put that in the some faceless nigga, as usual. Some Negro who want to be black, some hating ass Negro. And we had some troll Mexicans come in there too, but probably Caucasian, some Caucasian-looking Mexicans. You see, anything to lie to you and steal, we got to be stronger than that. We got evidence and proof on our side. We got evidence and proof. So utilize this evidence and proof of the images of our people that they held for us, because they obviously knew it would come a time where people would take their extensive culture, extensive heritage, our extensive heritage, and try and lie about it. That's why our people took all those pictures, like I said, so that they wouldn't be forgotten, so that people couldn't come around and just take over their image and talk about, oh, see, they ain't the real, see, the Mesoamericans are white, see, here they go, they white. You see, that's why our people had all those images put up of themselves. Just like how you Negroes do today, we always stay taking pictures. We staying up in the Snapchat. Man, I done seen so many pictures that done made my jaw drop, man. How the hell haven't we seen this all this time we've been here? How the hell haven't we acknowledged it? What's up with all these black leaders? What is up with all these black leaders and this African garbage? I'm pretty sure our people would have stood tall, knowing that they was Mesoamerican people, knowing that we are really Mesoamerican. We the real Americans. We the real Native Americans. I'm sure our people would have stood tall knowing that. The real Native Americans are the Mesoamericans. They're not no American Indians. I told you that. American Indian culture is ripped off from the Mesoamericans. The feathers and the hair, all of that. Get that straight. Stop with this black Indian nonsense. We claim in Mesoamerica, and we don't give a damn who don't like it. We don't care. You Negroes, after this knowledge coming out, y'all still want to call yourself African American? Get down there. Go ahead. Go get down there. Do your thing. Do your thing. Call yourself all the African Americans you want. We ain't doing that. You see? You see? We're not doing that. This is our heritage. Our children, this is not just for us. This is for our children. You see? This is for our children. You see? This is for our babies. They need to see this. And we're going to teach our babies our Mesoamerican heritage and culture, that they come from something. We're going to stop lying to them and telling them, oh, y'all come from Africa and y'all come from, we was on the slave ships and all this nonsense. We're going to let them know, yo, people was kidnapped. We was kidnapped. We was already here in this land. We need to know the history. We need to know the history. Like I said, I ain't never seen so. Like I said, when I put up these videos before, since I started Mesoamerican Radio on YouTube, I ain't never seen so many damn. And we're gonna have to start a few Mesoamerican channels on YouTube. We're gonna have to definitely do that because, like I said, ain't no telling when YouTube gonna start acting funny and want to take down the channels because they ain't giving no hashtags to this. Why they ain't giving no hashtag to it? They're not trying to promote it. My channel's been on shadow ban, the Mentellect channels, the Mesoamerican. So we got to start a few channels. I'm not into, I don't even care about the monetization money. I don't care about that. I care about this knowledge of who we are getting out. I care about giving our people real credentials, a real identity as the real American. It ain't good enough for us to call ourselves American. It ain't good enough. It has to be known that we are the first real Americans, the Mesoamericans, the Native Americans. That has to be known. That has to be known. Your children have to know that. So if anybody is talking about, why don't you people go back to where you come from, we the only ones got the right to say that to everybody. We the only ones that got the right to say that to everybody. We the only ones that got the right to say, why don't you white people go back to Europe or go back to the caves where you come from? Why don't you damn Mexicans and all you other people get out of Mexico, you white Mexicans, you Indian-looking Mexicans, and go back to India or Asia or wherever you came from, cross back over the Bering Straits and go back where you came from. Because you are not the inhabitants of that land. That stuff was built before. That stuff was built way before y'all came there, before y'all crossed the Bering Strait. And some of our people mixed in with y'all. That's where your so-called Native Americans come from. They're nothing but a bunch of half-breeds, people that bred and mixed in with our Mesoamerican heritage. We're just going to put it out there just like that. You see, because like I said, a lot of these Negroes stop short of calling ourselves Mesoamerican. They stop short of that. But we the one to pick the baton up and went. I'm the first one that's declared we are Mesoamerican, not African American. I'm the first one to cut the ties to Africa. These Negroes ain't cutting the tie. I mean, you done had guys like Dane Calloway and this guy Amaru Khans and all these guys on YouTube who will say, yeah, you know, we see here go our heritage. They'll say things, but then they stay with this Indian thing, and they still want to stay on some of the black Indian narrative. Nah, man, we going back further than the so-called Indians, man. We go back way further than the so-called Indians. You see? This is what we dealing with. This is what we talking about. This is a continuation of the Mesoamerican. This is a continuation. You see? Because before we claim ourselves and stand up as the Amun race, like I said, as who we are by species, we are Amun by species, we must know who we are by internationalities. We must know that. That's important. So important that I had to start a second community, all going to be aligned into one very soon, at least publicly. Publicly. All that's coming in 2022. Hold on to your goddamn bonnets. Hold on to your damn race car, everything. Hold on to everything. Hold on to your break, because we about to hit the damn motion. We about to stomp on the gas with the Mesoamerican community, with the Republican Mentellect. We just got a whole new fuel injection system here. You see, it's about to be on and popping. Why? Because, like I said, a lot of these Negroes, they scared. They scared to stand up and claim who we are. They scared. They still want to claim Africa, and they still want to go with the out of Africa theory. That's a false tale of the so-called white man. All that out of Africa nonsense. he already proved, like I said, if you're not going to look at what he say and use logic and rationale and scrutinize what the so-called white man say when it comes to history, then you lost, man. You just might well be like these Negroes who believe in God and the devil, man, and the boogeyman and the Easter bunny. Just going along and believing anything he say. And see, that's the problem with a lot of these people. See, a lot of these people, they sitting up here and they beating on their chest, and they when they come in the comment section, they talking about, where's the proof? The proof is right there on the walls. The proof is in the images. The so-called nobody ever said, oh, those images are not real. All those images are real. All those images of so-called black people on those walls in the ancient Mesoamerica, ancient Olmecs, Aztec, Inca, Mayan. Like I said, I can go on. We keep finding images. You going to tell us to throw that away? Same way in Egypt. We keep finding our faces. We supposed to ignore that because of some white man and his lies? But you do got some Caucasians who will tell the truth. Like I said about that guy that wrote the book. I'm going to go ahead and pay the $500-$600 for the damn book. I'm going to go ahead and get it just to have it. And we're going to reprint it. We're going to reprint it and publish a lot of that stuff. Put those images out. Our people need to see that. Our people need to see that. We're putting out a book of 144 Mesoamerican inventions put out by a sister in the Republic. We need to start claiming our Mesoamerican heritage, standing up as the real Mesoamerican. That new fire in your chest. Stop with this African-American BS. The white man ain't calling himself a European American now, is he? He's trying to claim America as his own. He calls himself American now. He done cut off the Irish. He done forgot where the hell he came from, and he just going to embrace all of America. He just going to say he the real American. He the red-blooded American. You see? Talk about he the red-blooded American. The only red-blooded American is the Mesoamericans, the first Americans. The only American. You see, that has to be established and known. See, because it's a whole different other mindset when you know where you come from. You can keep your African-American heritage where your African-American experience start with you niggas getting off the damn slave ships. You see, starting with you Negroes getting off the damn slave ships. You got these goddamn Mexicans and all these other people trying to claim our heritage. Lying. And if you so-called Mexicans do got big lips and broad noses, that's because you mixed with us. They show, if somebody put up a picture where these Mexicans trying to put their face next to the Olmec. Stop it. Your big lips and your broad nose come from us. You inherited those images from us. Those are not your features. Those are bronze features. If you got those features because you mixed in with the original people, I'm not going to deny that some of y'all ain't got some broad noses like us and lips like us because you mixed in with us, the original people. That's not your true heritage. That's not your culture. You are Asians. You are a bunch of Asians and East Indians. That's what you are. You are not the native people of this land. And let me just say this. We can match up our images much better than you can do yours because that historian said the strange fate, he didn't count you people as the Mesoamerican. Yo, if you got any of our features because you mixed in with us, we never denied that you didn't come over here from Asia and mix in with our people. We never denied that. That's proof of that. That's proof of that. But what you will not do is lie and say that you the original people. You are not. Because then we're going to have to ask where you originally come from. And if you originally come from someplace else, which is not there, because you travel over here, you're going to deny that y'all crossed the Bering Straits as Asians, Mongoloids? You're going to deny that? And that you came over here and found our people? You're going to deny that? You're going to deny all those dark-skinned people? They're just going to say, oh, don't look at those walls with all the bronze so-called black people on the wall. Don't look at those walls. Don't look at those images when we matching our faces up. Don't look at that. Y'all ain't the real Mesoamericans. Y'all just making that up. They'll lie all the way to the end. So just basically disregard these people, man. Our voices got to be stronger than everybody's, man. Like I said, we got a lot of people who stand up against the reality of who we are, even the African-Americans, the niggas who still want to push this red, black, and green lie. You see? You got a lot of African-Americans who want to push this African-American lie. You see? But it's just as easy as these people. And like I said, and I'm going to say something. The only reason these people want to even claim, like this picture they put up of this Mexican, this Asian-looking Mexican with some of our features, the only reason now they want to claim the Olmecs and them because they see us claiming it. Now, all of a sudden, the Olmecs are not Moors, not African, neither. Lost tribe of neither lost tribe. They were indigenous. They were indigenous of Americans. Indigenous of Americans. What does that mean? What does that mean? The only reason they even claiming the Olmecs, they wasn't talking about that before. You know why they claiming Mesoamerican? A lot of these Mexicans and these so-called natives who are nothing but East Indians and Asians, you know why they claiming it now? Because they see us claiming it. They see us claiming it. Where the hell did they build pyramids at? Show me where they built pyramids at anywhere. They ain't built no pyramids nowhere. We got a history of building pyramids. We was the first ones here. We was the first ones here. There were no Mexicans thousands of years ago. There were no Mexicans. There were none of these people that they claiming are they ancient people. They were not around. They like I said, you was either so-called black, white, or East Indian or Asian. That's it. Where do they fit in that? Where do they fit in it? Why ain't they claiming their Asian heritage? Because I could put one of them Mexican faces next to an Asian. But will they say, oh, we Asian? They won't say that. Because you can match anybody. You can match their face with the Asian faces. You can match their face with the mixture of the Asian and East Indian faces. A lot of these Mexicans who claiming our heritage, these are the same people. If they tell you, if they can go and pass for an East Indian, they can go and pass for an Asian, they can go and pass for a whole bunch of different people and whatnot. Like I said, why don't they claim that? Why all of a sudden they want to claim your heritage? Why all of a sudden they want to claim your heritage? You see? Why all of a sudden they want to claim your heritage? And let's just go with the Olmec thing. Let's go and say, okay, y'all the Olmecs. What about all the bronze people on those walls? All the black. You want to say that's y'all too? The ones wearing all the pictures we found in black. Those are all y'all. Though we crazy. We don't know what we talking about. That's all y'all, right? Even the dark-skinned people, the reddish brown, bronze-skinned people, the dark-skinned bronze people, all that's them, huh? We just making this up. That ain't us. All the statues and things we done seen, all that's y'all. That ain't got nothing to do with us, right? We just came over from Africa on slave ships because that's what the white man told you. That's what the white man told you. But what was his reason for lying? Let me see. What was his reason for lying about us being African Americans or Africans instead of Mesoamericans? Could it have been that if you got a bunch of people who are the real inhabitants of the land, could it be that, it's a whole different other mindset when you know that this is really your land? See, when you know that you own the house and you're not just a renter inside the house, it's a whole other different mindset, ain't it? When you know you actually own the house versus being a renter in the house. You come with a whole mindset of a whole different mindset of entitlement now. You start walking around with your chest poked out. You're more proud now. See, because the whole thing was always to destabilize who we were, what our true heritage was. That was the whole thing. See, because when you lie about a people's heritage and you destabilize their heritage, you can, like I said, it's easy to push over the okie doke on them. Why is it that our people sitting up here starving and trying to go after everybody else's heritage? They want to be Asian, they want to be black Asians, black Italians, black whatever. They want to be black everything. Not knowing that whole black thing was meant to cover their true Mesoamerican identity. That's all it was meant to do. All of that Native American, like I said, they need to get their lies straight. They need to get their lies straight. Because the so-called American Indians, everybody has been complicit and stealing our heritage. That's how great our heritage is. You're going to tell us that we came out of damn Africa and we were swinging around in trees because the white man said so. Because the white man said so. You see, but he don't tell the truth about his own heritage. That should tell you something. He don't tell the truth about his own heritage. He lie about everything. So if you allow a liar to record history, a racist liar to record history because, again, they're interested in keeping our people down beneath them. You can't keep a people down who know who they are. You can't keep them down. It's hard to keep them down. It's hard to make that mindset of entitlement leave those people. You see, Once you got that mindset of entitlement, this is our country. We ain't going to no goddamn Ghana. We ain't going to no goddamn Africa. We ain't going back to some place we never been before. No, absolutely not. This is our home. For thousands and thousands of years, this has been our home. We home. They need to go home. Everybody needs to go home. All the people need to go back to their origins. Again, I found my face in Mesoamerica. You going to tell me that ain't my face? I'm just hallucinating? I'm hallucinating. Oh, brother, we ain't Mesoamerican. Nigga. And that go for, when I say nigga, that go for you Africans, that go for you Mexicans, that go for all you coons, you Caucasoid coons, all of y'all, like I said, go to hell. Go to hell. You're not taking away our heritage. Everybody been dancing around this. Everybody been dancing around this. You see? Even Tariq Nasheed, who I like his content, even he dancing around it. He with the foundational Black American thing, which is cool. I like that. He taking a step toward the reality of who we are, but they still want to dance around the whole African thing, man. You see? That's not a title, foundational Black Americans. First of all, our skin is not black. Foundation, that's not, again, we not black anything. Our skin is not black. We got to break that black nonsense in our head, man. See, that's a big problem with why we won't embrace our Mesoamerican heritage, because we still with this black nonsense. Y'all, that black spell is real heavy on you Negroes, man. And I'm calling you Negroes because you got a Negro mentality, because the word Negro means black too in Spanish. See, they had it all pegged out on how they was going to just basically rape the culture from our people, rape the heritage from our people, pass it off to other people, realign and redesign our people's history and whatnot to make us Africans, African Americans, or whatever the case is, giving us a false history, a false identity to mislead our people. And I told you all before, you got a lot of Negroes who will help in misleading our people, destroying who they are, destroying the identity of who they truly are. You got a lot of people like, so we got to get used to that. We're going to have a lot of African Americans out here who are not with us, man. And that's fine. I told you before, the line needs to be drawn between the bronze people and the black people. The line needs to be drawn. It needs to be drawn between the bronze people of Mesoamerican descent and the niggas who want to be black of African American descent. That needs to be drawn, man. See, because enough is enough, man. Enough is enough. There's no goddamn way in hell we're going to give up our Mesoamerican heritage. We ain't giving it up. We ain't giving it up. All that Native American culture is our culture. You see, all that stuff is passed down to these people who are nothing but a bunch of invaders. You see, because again, like I said, the white man wasn't the only invader here. The Asians were the first invaders. We was already here. And a lot of our people have broken down and spread out and moved out, but we accepted those people in. We fed those people too, so they don't want to talk about that. Do the history and the research on the Asians who crossed the Bering Straits. See, a lot of you Mexicans, y'all don't want to admit that you are part of those Asians who were, your ancestry and bloodline goes with those people who crossed the Bering Strait, those Asians. You'll find a lot of your heritage is from there. And see, it's already been established already that all the Mesoamerican empires that was up and then fell down way before y'all crossed the Bering Straits, man. Way before y'all crossed them. You Mexicans, you Mexicans, you Indian-looking Mexicans, you so-called American Indians, y'all need to trace y'all heritage back to the crossing of the Bering Straits when the Mongoloids came into America. That's what you need to do. You'll find your heritage there. Stop trying to take our heritage. Stop trying to lie to our people. Stop being complicit with the white man and trying to take our heritage. See, because like I said, they'll use any of these buffer groups, like the Mexicans. They'll use any of these buffer groups to try and push us out of our heritage. It's too much stuff we finding, man. And like I said, I find it hard to believe that all these so-called Pan-Africanists, all these so-called historians ain't pointing to this direction saying, yeah, brother, we the Mesoamericans. Why? I find it hard to believe that all of these so-called Pan-African scholars and whatnot, they're not pointing to the Mesoamerican heritage. Why? Why are they not pointing our people in the right direction of who they really are? Why not? Why do they keep pointing to Africa? Why do they got to keep looking to Egypt? when you got a civilization over here, our civilization over here is older than any Egyptian or African civilization here in America. But see, you know why these Negroes don't think like that? Because they still going with the narrative of the so-called white man that out of Africa theory, which is nothing but a theory. That all life started in Africa. All whose life? Whose life? Whose life? They got to get their lies straight, man. They got to get their lies straight before they tell us anything. And matter of fact, man, forget them, man. They ain't telling us nothing no more, man. They ain't telling us nothing no more. The cat is out the bag, man. So it's up to us to take our Mesoamerican heritage forward, man. It's up to us. We're going to have our own Mesoamerican names. We're going to have our own Mesoamerican gatherings and things like that. We're going to do that. We spearheading that. You see, we spearheading that going forward. The real Mesoamericans are standing up in the 21st century. See, because a lot of people thought we were gone and forgotten. And let me tell you something. These so-called Mexicans, these Indian-looking Mexicans, I'm not talking about the so-called black Mexicans, because you so-called black Mexicans, you are descendants of the Mesoamericans too. You bronze Mexicans, like I said, the ones that they don't show you, the Afro-Mexicanos, the African so-called Afro, they put Afro on it, make them from Africa too. You are part of the Mesoamerican heritage as well. They hide in your heritage too. There's racism in Mexico too. They let these Indian-looking Mexicans, those are your upper class amongst the Mexicans. Well, your so-called black Mexicans, your bronze Mexicans, they treat them as second-class citizens. So that whole racial thing is on all over the place, wherever our people are and wherever these people got that Caucasian influence. You see? And one of the main things they're bound to do is to keep lying about our heritage. Because, like I said, they will lie right in front of our face. Look how many images we done found. And they still lying to us. They still, at this point, I'm like, if you see, I mean, it's overwhelmingly, you can't even lie about this no more. It's overwhelming. These people are still trying to put up lies. They still putting their face up. And like I said, these goddamn Mexicans, they wasn't concerned about Mesoamerican nothing. It's an insult for these people to call themselves Mayans. That's an insult. The Mayans are black people, so-called black people. The Incas are black people. The Olmecs are black people, so-called black. The Toltecs are black people. Just because some of you people came in and mixed in amongst our people don't mean you part of the Mesoamerican bloodline. You people are Asiatics. You came from the Bering Strait. You crossed the Bering Strait. Your heritage can be found amongst the Asians that crossed the Bering Straits. You see, our people was all looking into Africa, looking into places, like I said, when all our heritage and history is here. It's all here. And people trying to get us to say, oh, that's not us. They want us to say, oh, that ain't y'all. That ain't y'all. They want you to say, oh, that ain't you. You see, you still want to walk around with this red, black, and green bullshit. Y'all still want to do this red, black, and green bullshit. You still want to do this Pan-African bullshit, this black bullshit, this African-American nonsense. Y'all still want to do this. When you got a rich culture and heritage right here. You can see where we fit right in. We fit right into the Mesoamerican heritage. You look at our pictures on those walls and those carvings and whatnot. That's our people, man. That's our people. The Olmecs, the Aztec, the Inca, the Mayan, the Toltec, and I can go on. Those are people who got that swag with them. I'm going to just use the word swag with them. Leopard skin damn coats and stuff like that. That's a people with swag. They ain't African. They ain't no tribal Africans. That's a people with swag. That's the people with charisma. That's the people that got that image of pop so much so that people want to steal their heritage. Like when you look at the ancient Egyptians, that's our people are people with swag. You see? Style. So much so that people want to steal your heritage. They want to say, that's ours. That's ours. The white man's still trying to do that when it's impossible. Impossible. Tariq Nasheed brought that up. I give it to you. The white man's still trying to claim the ancient Kemetic. They did the ancient Kemites. They still trying to do that. They going to keep telling the same lie because that's how they work. They going to keep lying and lying and lying because the more they lie, we're going to keep telling the truth. Because it's impossible for them to be the ancient Kemites. The heat over there in Egypt, that even today, especially back then, even today, they couldn't even stand under that heat. That heat is scorching. It'll burn your ass alive. So you had to have carbon coating on your skin to live there. It had to be dark-skinned, bronze people that lived there who wasn't African, who wasn't tribal Africans. God, I told you before, the Africans are the tribal people. You know the tribal African people. You know how they look. The Africans got the real Africans, not the ones of our people who are really Mesoamerican, who are being told they're African. I'm talking about the real Africans have a distinctive look. You can tell who the real Africans are. You see? And though they are somewhat related to us, they are, you know, a few removed from us, but they're not the same people as us. We're not the same people. Just because they dark-skinned like us don't make them the same people. You know who the tribal Africans are. And they'll tell you who they are. And they'll tell you that out of their own mouth, you're not their people. They'll tell you that. They know who the tribal Africans are. We're not part of the tribal Africanism. All of our culture, heritage, and history is here in America. North America, South America, Central America, Mexico, that's us. And even I can even go even with these islands going out further. That's without a doubt, man. That's without a doubt. So when I tell our people, I said we have to support our Mesoamerican heritage by coming into the Mesoamerican community. When I say we have to do that because, like I said, we got to make a stand for this, man. You see, this is the reason why we don't have no real community, because you can't have no real community when you don't have no real heritage and culture. You can't have a real community. You see, that's why I said that whole black community thing, that's just ridiculous. The black community. What the hell is the black community? Where's the red community? Where's the orange community? Where's the green community? Where's the white community? There are none. You know why? Because those people have a real heritage and culture. They busy stealing your heritage and culture when they trying to get you to embrace nothing, darkness, blackness. They trying to get you there. They don't want you to call yourself the Mesoamerican. You black people from someplace in Africa. That's our heritage, and that's what we supposed to embrace. You see, and then they won't even let you have that. They won't even let you have that because now the tribal Africans and all people come up there, they say they African American. The Caucasians coming over, it's like Charlize Theron and all these Caucasians, they saying they African American. She's from South Africa. She came over to America. Now she African American. They won't even let y'all niggas have that. So where does it stop? Charlize Theron can be African American. She can be. Yes, she can. She can put on the dashiki and the kente cloth all she wants. Charlize Theron and all these Caucasians from South Africa, yeah, go ahead and put on the kente cloth. And like I said, my people, my Mesoamerican people, I'm going to let you know, because I'm going to do a broadcast on the Mesoamerican people in Africa, because there's a lot of y'all in Africa, a lot of Mesoamericans in Africa, a lot of Mesoamericans in Europe, a lot of Mesoamericans in the UK that's falsely being, that's aligned with those societies, but you're not part of those societies. You're not. We're going to speak on that. I'm sick and tired of these lies. Like I said, we have a rich, rich, rich heritage. We got a lot of things that's coming out. We're going to put out under our Mesoamerican banner, and we're going to go proudly forward with this. It's important that we do. It's important that we do. Like I said, any bit of greatness that our people come across, you're gonna see the white man or somebody be there to take that from us and tell us that we ain't those people. Everybody's trying to misplace our people. Like I told you, it wasn't until we started saying that, because the white man, when he started with the whole Egyptology thing, because he come up with the whole Egyptology thing was started so that the white man could start basically creating his own false narrative around the history of our people in ancient Kemet. That's why the whole Egyptology thing started, because when they kept finding all those black faces, so-called black faces, those bronze faces of our people, the lips, the nose, thing like that, and then they found the statues that was undeniably bronze people, our people, they didn't want our people to have that, man. They didn't think we should have hold of that heritage, that ancient heritage. You said, so they had to create Egyptology, and through Egyptology, that was their way of stealing all our statues and, things like that, and things breaking off land masses and taking treasures and things, taking things all up under the guise of promoting Egyptology. But like I said, that's how extensive our history is, our heritage is, because if you notice, there's no Greekology, there's no Romanology, there's no study of these people. Why is that? because they are minuscule in comparison to our people and our heritage and history. So, like I said, even now the Mexicans do the same thing in concert with the so-called white man, where they doing this with our Mesoamerican heritage. They don't found so many so-called black faces and whatnot. So all those faces are lies. All those images of our people on those walls in Mesoamerica, they look just like the people, the same wall drawings over in Egypt, same type of drawings and things like that on the walls. So all our people are lying, right? All those are lies. Those are really Mexicans and white people. Their skin is really white because it's not you niggas. Their skin was white, but what happened was that the over time they started looking like they was dark. But see, they wasn't really black. This is shit they tell you. This is the BS they tell you. This is a soul connection that we're making right now. That's why you hear so much power and fire in my voice. You hear the passion and fire in my voice because this is a soul connection we making, man. Wherever there's a soul, because let me tell you something, man. These so-called Mexicans and all these other people who saying they Mesoamerican, they don't got that fire in their voice, man. They don't got that power in them to really stand up for that, to stand on it. They know deep down inside that's not their people. They know it's not. They own Mexican historians that said that if they want to be truthful. They just don't want you to have that culture. They don't want you to have, they feel like, why should you niggas have such a great heritage and culture? Because it's ours. Because it's ours. It's not yours. I'm talking about you Indian-looking Mexicans with the straight hair like the white man. You Indian-looking Mexicans who are trying to pass yourself or putting your face up next to the Olmecs. You guys look ridiculous, man. You look like a bunch of goddamn fools. And I'm going to say this again. Yeah, some of you do got our blood in you. You do, because you are Asiatics who crossed over and mixed in with our people. So if y'all have some of y'all have some thick lips and some broad noses, that's from us. Those are character traits of bronze people, so-called black people. And y'all know it. Y'all ain't never been known to have no big lips and no broad noses. You know that's not your phenotype. You just represent a mix. You mixed in people. So if you want to claim Mesoamerican heritage because you mixed in with black people, then get down. But we ain't accepting you. We ain't accepting your asses. You just like the white man. You just like him, a liar just like him. And you a racist just like them. So we ain't accepting nothing you got to say. Nothing you got to say about our heritage, our Mesoamerican heritage that's thousands and thousands of years old, not hundreds of years old. We ain't going to burn the reality of who we are, because I guarantee you, if the white man even thought for a shadow of a doubt that white people was here in the ancient world, they even tried to tell that lie at one point in time. They tried to even lie and say, well, it's been some new proof shown that it was early Europeans over here in the ancient. Stop. Here come the lies. And, of course, the white man, you'll get some Caucasian historians to tell that lie, and they'll use their credentials, their PhD, and they a doctor in this and this historian. And, it seems that we found some Caucasians. No, you did not. You a liar. You are a liar. You see, they're liars. You know why they liars? Because all of the images, like I said, where they say a picture says 1,000 words. Well, we don't found more than over 1,000 pictures. We keep finding pictures. So there's more than 1,000 words to go with this account. This is the reality of who our people really are. We ain't hiding no more. Ain't no more hiding no more, man. No more hiding. Like I said, we represent the Mesoamericans going forward. We ain't trying to really, pick up and try and follow, like I said, their traditions. Because, like I said, we'll take certain things and whatnot, things that connect us to them. But as far as trying to find out what they customs and traditions, we ain't going through all that. Because we are the modern-day Mesoamericans. We are the future Mesoamericans. We are the Mesoamericans claiming that name in that time. And I already know, like I said, I already knew it was, it was, how I want to say, it was kind of, a little out there to even think that the whole group of so-called African Americans was, the so-called 14% of our people here that's supposed to be just 14%. It was just, I know it was a little out there to think that they would all just drop the whole African American thing and just claim Mesoamerican heritage. I already know that's a little bit out there for these Negroes because they've been programmed for so long by the lies of the white man. They can't think for themselves. They've been programmed by the lies of the white man. Of course, they had these Pan-African Negroes help them. These Pan-African Negroes that's on the payroll. They keep lying to us about our heritage. I told you what the motivation is behind lying to us about our heritage. See, because then the whole slave thing starts to wane. The whole slave story, because see, in the whole slave account, the whole African Holocaust slave account, and ships coming over and all this other nonsense, see, that does something forever. What that denotes is an inferiority complex in the minds of our people as conquered people, as people who have no heritage, who were ignorant and stupid and didn't contribute. And that's part of the whole acceptance as an African American. You have to accept that you a dumb tribal people who were civilized by the white man, that he brought you over here and whipped you and civilized you into, and made you the African Americans you are today. See, that's what comes along with the African American slave story. White supremacy is the creator of the African American slave story. White supremacy, Caucasian, so-called Caucasian wannabe supremacy is the author of your African history, your black history. They the ones who pay for and author your black history, your black heritage, about your black ass. They the ones that calling you black people. And y'all, and like I said, you Negroes are so programmed and you so brainwashed and so brain stained, y'all can't accept the reality of who we are. Y'all would fight it tooth and nail. Anytime you're going to fight against the fact that our skin is not black and that, you arguing over whether our skin is black or not, that just goes to tell you something right there, that y'all mentally dead, man. Y'all been programmed. You've been programmed by the so-called white man. You don't think for yourselves. Because, like I said, when you go and deny pictures, wall drawings, statues, things like that, when you're going to deny all that with our images on it, and you're going to still got the nerve to turn around and say about the Mesoamericans are not so-called black people, not the real black, not black people, not falsely being called African American. If you see all this history there, and you're still going to turn around and say, oh, they're not black, so-called black people, those are not the bronze people, those are not the copper-colored people, and you're going to still deny, there's something wrong with you, man. And that goes for a lot of you Mexicans, because like I said, you'll sit up here like the white man and still tell a lie. You're going to still tell a lie to the white man. With all these pictures in your face, you Mexican lie, you guys, racist Mexicans, you Indian-looking racist Mexicans, you'll go as far, and I'm not saying all of you, I'm pretty sure some of y'all might tell the truth, but you Indian racist Mexicans, you will go as far as to say, oh, see those black people on the wall, that's what we are, that's us. That's us. That ain't you, that's us. Woolly hair and everything, huh? Yeah, that's still us. Statues, yeah, that's us. That ain't y'all. Why? What history y'all? Well, according to history, y'all came over from Africa on slavery. Whose history? American history. Oh, you mean the white man's lies? That's what you accept. That's all you accept about our history. That this is not anything other than the reality, the truth. That's what you're going off of, a lie. All your Caucasian historians who claim we came over from Africa, but yet we finding our images here in the ancient Mesoamerica. Why we keep finding all these people that look like us in ancient Mesoamerica? Why we keep finding these people if they're not our people? Why we keep finding these people? Now, it's funny, when the white man finds his image somewhere, he puts it down around the shadow. That's when wall drawings, when he finds Caucasian images of himself, even though they don't really find themselves nowhere. But whenever they find wall drawings of Caucasians and, images of white people and stuff like that anywhere, they going to proudly step up and claim, oh, see, that's white people. We was here doing it. And they'll go off for the pictures and the carvings and the wall. It's good enough when it's white people, but when it's us, see, they ain't really they're not really black. See, they just painted themselves. It's always a lie and a story that come with it. But when it's white people, oh, they white. Even the white man got to force himself into the account. If he got to force himself into the story, he gonna force himself. It's like the ancient Kemetic thing. They still telling that lie. They still telling that lie, even though the so-called white man would burn to death over in Egypt with all that heat. They didn't have no sunblock and no skin. They didn't have no skin, no sunblock back then. That's why they called Egypt one of the places Heliopolis. Or they refer to the Egyptians, Egypt as the land of burnt faces. because their faces would be burning red with all that heat on their face because they, like I said, to the day they still burn red. So it was impossible for them people to live over there all that time and be those people. Same way it's impossible for these so-called Mexicans and these Asians who are really Asians claiming that they built the pyramids and built all those cities and whatnot, and they're going to deny that our people were there. They're going to deny our people left enough proof, enough evidence that this is their society. These are their society. They left enough proof. And we ain't even get to the tip of the iceberg. And that's funny how whoever put these up there, the Mexicans, the Caucasians, whoever, the people that were true, because you got certain people who are Caucasians and certain Mexicans, people who just people of truth, who will tell the truth, and they won't look at it like, you know, it's a slap in the face, or they don't have that racist intent. They'll just, for the sake of being factual, they're going to tell the truth. The ones who are truthful, for the sake of being factual, they'll tell the truth and let you know that, the Mesoamericans, the ancient Mesoamerican people are black people. They're African. They're really black people, falsely being called African American. Their descendants are African Americans. They may not go as far as to say that, but they'll let you know that those Mesoamericans are black people, so-called black people. You see, they won't go as far as to say, oh, the descendants, they people are the descendants. But who else could these descendants be? Who else could their descendants be? Who else could their descendants be? And we look like those people. We look exactly like those people. So who else could their descendants be? We finding our face in the ancient world. We stay finding our faces in the ancient world ever since we undertook this name as Mesoamericans. We stay finding our faces in the ancient world. So who else could it be if not us? You know, the people who you call black people, the people whose heritage and culture you wanted to make sure you erased so that you can keep this whole black and white thing going, so that you can make the real Americans, the Mesoamericans, the second-class citizens in their own country, and their own continent and their own society. You can make them second-class citizens? No. That's why I want our people all over the planet, Mesoamericans all over the planet. And like I said, South America, North America, UK, South Africa, all over. Mesoamericans are everywhere. You see, we ventured out from ancient Mesoamerica, from the Yucatan, and we ventured out to different places, man. We were the first people traveling by the sea, man. So we went into Africa, man. We went into the East. We went into all those places, man. The same way the white man traveled all over today, our people was doing that thousands of years before he was even thought that we was going to these places, putting down our roots and putting down culture. But the start point is Mesoamerica. Hell, the white man and his one fit of righteousness, and his one, because sometimes the white man will get a fit of righteousness, meaning that he'll tell the truth. He'll be real in what he's saying. He'll be real. When I say righteous, he ain't righteous by nature, but he might come out with some reality and tell you who we really are. You see, because a lot of you Caucasians, you Asians, you East Indian people who perpetrating the fraud and claiming that you are the people of the ancient world, aren't taking our heritage. See, you got an inferiority complex, and you don't want to tell so-called African Americans, so-called black people, that really y'all not African Americans, really y'all not, but y'all really are the Mesoamericans, you're really the descendants, because like I said, the white man would rather erase that goddamn history. He would rather erase that. That's how you know that's our people, because he did the same thing to our history that he did to us. He erased our history. What did he say? He said that the descendants of those Mesoamerican people, they gone. We don't know what happened to their descendants. We don't know. They just disappeared. How a whole group of people just disappeared? How a whole race of people just disappeared? They just disappeared. That's what they did with our heritage. Y'all don't see the correlation? They black people. Redacted. Put a black line through them. They black people. We ain't going to tell them that they the real Americans here. They the real Mesoamericans. That they came, but if it wasn't for them, if it wasn't for us, they wouldn't even be here in America. There would be no America. So when you say, or if it wasn't for so-called black people, there would be no America, you damn right. You damn right it wouldn't be no America. If it wasn't for the Mesoamericans, there would be no current America today. There would be no current America. If it wasn't for our people farming this land and planting maize here and all this other stuff, planting these things, it wouldn't be nothing here. Farming the land to feed the people, because if you can't feed the people, you can't grow life here. There can't be no extension of life here. You seen what happened when the white man came here into America, when they first got over here and whatnot. Some of them come over here, they didn't even know how to grow food here. You see, they was eating each other. You see, they were starving, nasty and dirty when they came here. Filthy people, degenerate people, people that's ready to eat, in their own words, guys ready to eat their own wives and children when they couldn't get no food if it wasn't for our people showing them how to farm. And it wasn't no Asian, none of these Asian-looking Indians that was doing it. They was our people. Those were bronze people doing that. So-called black people that was feeding them. The ones who they call copper-colored people. Like I said, it's important for our children to know. It's important for us to know. You know, because when we now describing our women, we can describe our women as Mesoamerican women. You know what I'm saying? Describe our men as Mesoamerican men. You see? We can describe ourselves. That's our internationality. You know, we as Mesoamerican people are the most captivating, beautiful, and strong people on the planet. Most captivating, beautiful, and strong people on the planet. Because, like I said, everybody is fascinated by our culture and our heritage. Ain't nobody checking for the white man and them. Nobody checking for the Greeks and the Romans. You already know what they was about. Sodomy and, you know, degeneracy. You already know what they was about. Ain't nobody really checking for the Asian culture like that. Not for real. You know what I'm saying? You know, like except for these simple-minded Negroes and whatnot who believe there's really an Asian culture, but whatever. Nobody's checking for East Indians. You already know what they about. Deformities and all kinds of delusional, crazy nonsense. Again, when you look at the first society builders, when you look at the first artists, the first architects, the first mathematicians, the first everything, the first agriculturalists for thousands of years putting it down strong, that's us, man. All these other people are Johnny-come-latelys, man. These Caucasians, these Asians, these East Indians, they all Johnny-come-lately, all classified as the human race. They're Johnny-come-latelys. We as the Amun race, the Mesoamerican people, we been here, man. If it wasn't for us, there'd be no them. So keep that in mind. And like I said, I get it. Their whole mindset comes from, their whole mindset of them being the first people, it's not about them actually believe. They got to tell themselves that, because their mindset is, we got to take something from you. We got to take from you Negroes. They know deep down inside they're not those people, but they will misrepresent themselves as those people just so that they don't know that you can have that heritage. See, these are all racist people. They're racist. And they would rather knock you down and tell you came from out of trees and you was African and you didn't have no heritage. You was hanging out in the tree like that nigga, Ben Carson. I'm always keep calling you a nigga, Ben Carson. You know, like I said, when you said that nonsense about, if it wasn't for the white man, we would have been in Africa swinging in trees and studying Islam. You never going to get let off the hook for that, nigga. You see, because I told you, they always get niggas like this to help them push these lies to our people. You see, they already changing the history books already. They ain't saying that our people was enslaved. Now I told you they said we was forced workers or some nonsense they want to give our people. So again, the white man, he lies, and he'll just lie and lie and lie. He don't care who don't, he don't care who don't accept the lie up front at first. But he knows that if he keep lying and lying and lying, and then he institutes the lies in his history class and in his school system, and he keep lying and lying, then after a while, people are going to accept it as the truth, because there's nobody else out there saying otherwise. See, we have to be the people that's saying otherwise. We have to be. We have to be the people that stand up saying otherwise about our heritage. We can't wait on the white man and all these other people that say otherwise about our heritage, because they're always going to keep the African slave narrative going. They're going to keep on lying to our people and saying we came from someplace in West Africa and that we was tribal African. They took us from Africa, because he got too many niggas to back him up. He got too many lying turncoat Judas goat niggas to back him up. whether they be the Israelites, whether they be the Pan-Africanists, whether they be the Kemet Negroes, whether it be the Muslims, who all have a lot invested in the slave story, the slave narrative about how cargo slave ships brought all our people, 100 million of us locked in chains. Stop. 100 million of us came over here and changed. That was in Malcolm Hex, the Malcolm Hex video in the movie. That's the white man brought us 100 million. What do you mean? He said a million. Our people oh man, please. I told you they already got a lot of African Americans. These Boule Negroes help push the African American false heritage on our people. A lot of these. Why do you think the white man made a lot of these Negroes Boule and things like that? Because they used them to push the African American heritage. They used them. I told you prior to that time, our people wasn't calling themselves black people. We wasn't calling ourselves African. We called ourselves Native people or American. We called ourselves native to this land or copper-colored or sepia-toned people. It wasn't until a lot of these Negroes, they got hooked up with the Masonic lodges. A lot of these Negroes, and even Garvey, I seen a video with Garvey. They was Masons too, man. Marcus Garvey and them, a lot of these black Masons and the Prince Hall Negroes, a lot of them bought into that whole African thing. They wanted a lot of these Negroes to spread that African thing to our people, man. You see, that false heritage to our people. Because I told you, once you got a people who know what their true heritage is and what their true land is, it's hard to make those people second-class citizens. It's hard to make those people a bunch of second-class citizens. It's hard to do that. It's hard for you to make them second-class citizens. It's hard for you to make them a bunch of damn black people and slaves and stuff. It's hard for them to do that. See, the white man knew he had to strip our people down to get us to accept our place beneath him. He had to strip our people. You see, that's why he didn't want you to learn how to read. He wanted to always be that one in the way of your evolution, because he know once we get our mindset on that level of evolution and evolve and mentally, we're going to connect forward into our true heritage. And then you ain't going to tell us nothing no more. See, because people are fearsome fighters. People are fearsome in their ability to stand up for righteousness when they know that they have a real heritage that they come from, a heritage of power that they come from. See, when people know that they are the first, I told you, that mindset of entitlement comes into them. That mindset of entitlement. Can you imagine if we taught our children about our ancient Olmec ancestry, our ancient Aztec ancestry, our ancient Mayan ancestry, our ancient Mesoamerican ancestry? Can you imagine if we taught our children that in history class, our own Mesoamerican history class, which we're going to set up in our community, Mesoamerican history class? We ain't teaching American history. We're going to teach Mesoamerican history. And we're going to teach when we do teach American history, we're going to teach it 2 periods of Mesoamerican, ancient Mesoamerican history, and American history as it came up over time. We're going to teach that to our children, man, because it's important that they take this forward, man. Again, you don't see none of these Negroes, none of these so-called, and I'm not no African scholar. I'm not no so-called scholar and, all that nonsense and whatnot. I don't proclaim to be a scholar. Never did. Never claimed to be no historian and all this other stuff. I don't claim none of that. I go with what logically and factually makes sense realistically. Those pictures, those images, see, those are the truth right staring us in our face. So I'm proud not to be a so-called historian. I'm proud not to be one. See, because, obviously the historian, a lot of them like to tell lies. A lot of them like to get those titles and whatnot and then get co-opted by the so-called white man with a grant to teach at the college or a tenure at a college to teach black history. Because, when you sitting up here and you saying, yeah, we the Mesoamerican, we power, I'm a historian, I know, then the white man come along and say, hey, you want to teach black history? It's $100,000 a year for you at this college. What you going to do? But you got to teach African studies. You got to teach that your people come from Africa. What you think these niggas going to do? You got to write books, and, you can get tenure if you write books on your African heritage. but we ain't African, though. Well, we want you to teach that your people are African, that you came over from Africa, and that you don't have any, just teach that. Because they had to go that way. You know they had to go that way? Because please tell me how all this stuff we find, and I'm not even no damn historian, all this intel, all this info out there about our Mesoamerican heritage, and no, none of these people are pushing that we Mesoamerican. I'm the one that got to come up here and push this. All of this heritage, again, you find more of our heritage and more of our story in America than you do in Africa. So how the hell are these niggas pushing Pan-Africanism? Tell me how that makes sense. Make that make sense to me. Make that make sense to me when you can find more of our heritage and culture here in America than in Africa, but yet you still got these people talking about we Pan-African. You going to tell me that that's not some people that's being paid or they just willfully ignorant? I'm saying I don't think they're ignorant. I think they're being paid. That makes more sense in the world to deceive our people. Because why wouldn't you point to the obvious? If you that much of a historian, then you should know more than the average person. You should know way more than me about our Mesoamerican culture. You should know way more, and you should be pushing for our people to call ourselves Mesoamerican. But why is Nuben Menkarayzz the first one, the only one pushing that? I ain't heard nobody else say we should drop that African-American thing and call ourselves Mesoamerican and build our Mesoamerican heritage and culture. I ain't heard nobody say that. I ain't heard nobody say that. I heard these niggas talking about is, we black Indians. We ain't African, we black Indians. No, man. No. Absolutely not. We ain't no black nothing. I told you that we got to stop being the black version of everybody else, because all that's denoting is that we not the real. Because if you're not the first anything, then you ain't the real ones. If you ain't the first, then you ain't the real ones. So when you calling yourself black, you already casting yourself as a secondary person. When you say you black Indians, you're saying, we the black version of the real Mongoloid Indians. That's really what you're saying. That's really what you're saying. When you saying you was black this or black that, or you were black this, you saying you're the fake version of the real people. That's why I say, we Mesoamerican. We ain't no black nothing. We're Mesoamerican people with copper-colored skin, bronze skin. We're bronze-skinned Mesoamerican people. Or just Mesoamerican, period. That's it. We don't need to say nothing else. That's ours. Mesoamerican culture and heritage and identity and nationality, internationality is ours. The people who are falsely being called black and African American. To hell with that. That's, if you want to throw off some slave chains, start with that. Because those heritages and those fake identities as African American, black, Negro, nigger, all that nonsense, that's nothing but that's still an extension of the slave chain around your neck, right along with your Caucasian names.